What is going on? Yeah. Let me see if it's picking up in there. Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen. All right, we are live. We are live. We are live. Audio is working. How y'all doing out there? I changed my time. Changed my live time to 3 o'clock today. Moving forward, that's most likely what it's gonna be. I'm gonna try to make this, try to make this wiggity work. But how y'all doing out there in the internet stratospheres and all that good stuff? And all that good stuff. It is Saturday, and today, so when I got up this morning, I was actually I hopped on Instagram and I came across a post that I actually posted up about discipline. And that post got me thinking, it got me it got the wheels turning in my mind on how much discipline has been a contributing factor to my success in life, like not just business, but life. And I said, that would be a great topic to talk about today is discipline and how it can lead to a freedom, right? You discipline yourself and be relentless about your goals, about your dreams, about your aspirations. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It can definitely drive you to freedom. And you might be thinking, well, what does that mean? How do you go from discipline to freedom? Well, discipline produces a certain kind of fruit, right? It produces a certain kind of fruit. And that discipline, it can take you so many different places. When you think about a basketball player, when you think about anybody really that's really successful in life, discipline was one of the main traits that they had to obtain that success. And so it's important in business that we remain diligent and we remain disciplined in what we're trying to accomplish, right? So I help mommypreneurs automate their business, and so being disciplined with for me is making myself available to the marketplace every single day, right? Coming on live, answering questions and talking to people about business, and specifically mommypreneurs about business. And so just a little kind of backstory on how discipline has played a role in my life. So um so so I was in high school and all that good stuff. I went to Crenshaw High School. Shout out to C House. Shout out to C House. And in going to school and just the household that I was raised in, my mother was very strict. She was like a drill sergeant essentially. And all of my friends, like literally all of my friends, would always say, "Hey, your mom mean, your mom strict, your mom this, your mom that." But to me, I didn't know any difference because that's all I knew, right? And my mom would always tell me, with certain friends, she would kind of be like, "Yeah, stay away from them, whatever, whatever." And she will always tell me, like, "I know, you probably think I'm hard on you, but watch how you gonna turn out compared to everybody else that's around you that's saying those things." And true enough, because of the discipline that she instilled in me at a young age. Now, granted, I'm an oldest child, so I had a lot of responsibility in the household, and that responsibility helped me in life because as an adult, that's the main thing that separates being an adult from being a child is being responsible. And so discipline for me, the discipline that I experienced as a child really helped me in my everyday life, right? And what I mean specifically is just that wait one second, let me get my okay, there we go. I think that's it. Oh, it's not. Okay. But yeah, so what discipline meant for me was doing exactly what I'm supposed to do and showing up, whether it's whatever needs to be done around the house. Like that was my discipline as a kid. And then as I got older, so I joined the military straight out of high school. 3 days after high school, I was at boot camp in South Carolina. And back then, because I wanted to go to school and I joined the military specifically for school, I was in this program where I basically went to boot camp one summer, and then the next summer I went to AIT, which was the schooling, or the schooling based on what your job will be in the military. And so the discipline, because of the discipline that I had as a child, that my mother instilled in me as a child, as a teenager, my livelihood after I became an adult was easy, right? And I'm not saying to say life was just completely easy and I didn't have any challenges, but because that discipline was instilled in me, I the things that was required of me in the military and out of the military with school, I was able to handle my responsibilities because it was already instilled in me to do that. And so as I got older, a lot of my friends kind of started falling by the wayside, and because they weren't disciplined, they didn't and it's not every single friend I had, but a majority of them weren't disciplined. So they kind of veered off, did different things, got in trouble, and got to a point where they couldn't really take care of themselves. And so my mom would tell me, you see how that turned out? You see how they, you see. And I kind of was like, yeah, you was right. You was right. So it's important to have discipline in your livelihood, and not just in your livelihood, but in business. Because when it comes to business, you have a choice, right? You can either show up for your clients or you can disappear. You know what I mean? You can do what you say you're gonna do, or you can not do what you say you're gonna do, right? Y'all excuse my mom, my daughter. She she in her own she in her own little world, but yeah. So it's important to have discipline in business. So why is it important? Because it discipline produces a certain kind of fruit that may not show up right away, right? It's just like a tree. Like if you take an analogy of a tree, right? A tree, you plant a seed in the ground, that seed germinates, it goes into the ground, it grows down, and then it grows up, right? So discipline is all the work that's happening behind the scenes that most people don't see. And because of that work that you put in and that discipline to keep doing this, the thing that you're doing, regardless of if the fruit has shown up yet, is going to produce once that discipline tree, right, so to speak, produces fruit, right? And so discipline has helped me. I worked hard, relentlessly for a good 7 8 years, and because of the work that I put in, I was able to retire at 27 years old. While most people are kind of getting their life started, I had already kind of gotten a whole career under my belt, if you will. And I started going back to school and went to school, for recording arts, for computer animation and stuff like that. And by the end of that process, because of my discipline, I had produced enough fruit to where I didn't have to go work for anybody. And so discipline, and that's where it created that freedom for me, right? Discipline equals freedom. I'm trying to get my slideshow to pop up. It's acting all crazy right now. Okay. But yeah, so discipline, it's absolutely imperative that you have discipline and focus when it comes to your business, when it comes to your livelihood, right? And like I said, discipline has really been the one characteristic. Like if I could give any person one thing, it would be discipline. Because discipline, it applies across so many different scenarios, situations. And as long as you have discipline in your life to get up and show up when necessary, to continuously do the work and put the work in, eventually that discipline that you plant is going to produce freedom, so that you can be able to do whatever you want to do, go and move how you want to move, and And in that discipline, right, in that period of time where you working relentlessly, you doing your thing every single day, you showing up in the marketplace, you serving your customers, you taking care of your kids, right, it's going to allow you, and maybe not allow you, but it's going to produce a, a fruit, right? And that fruit is going to produce freedom. But before it even gets to the freedom part, it's going to produce your mastery, right? What does that mean? That means that if you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, and you're constantly being relentless about your work, you're going to master that skill, right? It's in anything. Repetition is what builds, it builds that skill set, right? And it ultimately moves you into mastery, where you master your thing, whatever that thing is. It could be, if you're a barber, it could be cutting hair, right? If you cut so many heads for so much amount of time, eventually you're going to master that skill. Same thing with marketing in your business. If you go through the struggle, right, you discipline yourself and constantly practice, perfect your art, your craft, eventually it's going to produce mastery, and that mastery is going to produce freedom. Look, Michelle. She in her own little world. But yeah, discipline is really important. It's really important. I definitely, like I said, if it's one thing that I could give people, whether, whatever situation you're in, right? It doesn't just apply to business, it applies to life. Discipline is what's going to set you apart from everybody else. And of course, at first it could be painful, right? It could be like, it could feel like, and even look like you're doing all this work for nothing, but it is not for nothing, because all works work, right? In the Bible, it says, all work. And so it may not be working to produce the fruit, or it may not be working and the fruit may not show up right away, but nature itself tells us that it takes time, right? Just same thing with a tree. You put the seed in the ground, it germinates, it takes time to germinate, and then it produces the tree, and then the tree produces the fruit. And so all of that takes time. And having the discipline to do it, even when it doesn't look like it's producing anything, is what's going to set you apart in your business, right? So that's really important. It's really important. Excuse me. It's really important. Ain't that right, stinky butt? Okay, no. All right, okay. My little stinky butt. But yeah, discipline is really important. If one thing, like, that's one thing I wouldn't change, is the amount of discipline that was instilled in me, regardless of how it looked like, right? To my friends, it looked like, oh, you're my mean and this and that and that. Ooh, ooh. But at the end of the day, it made life so much easier because I had the discipline to get up, to go to work every day, to go to school every day, to show up every day, and to live up to the potential that was placed on the inside of me. And it's important that you do that in your business. And so whatever business you may be in, like I said, you you could be barbering, you can be a hairstylist, nail tech, you can be a course creator, a consultant. No matter what field you are into, when it comes to business, having discipline is what's going to set you apart from everybody else. So I hope that this encourages you to remain diligent and disciplined in whatever you set your mind to. Stop, baby. It's important to decide, rather, right? you know the difference in making choices and deciding, obviously, is, well, not obviously, because it's not obvious to everyone, but once you make a decision and you decide, hey, this is what I'm going to do, double down on that and do the work, right? Be diligent, be disciplined in whatever you decide to do. It will definitely produce mastery on the inside, that's going to show up as freedom on the outside. Okay. And it's interesting because today I wanted to, I wanted to talk about the importance of income streams, because I had this thought earlier today. It's so interesting. Like, I was walking around the house and I just kind of thought, like, dang, the amount of money that I pay in living expenses now compared to 2018 is like double, right? And the cost of living goes up. And if you're in real estate, right, if you have property, and I own property, and every single year my property taxes have been going up, which is crazy. But I'll most likely talk about that tomorrow. Talk about the importance of having different streams of income. But today we focusing on discipline. So I'll talk about that. But that was interesting that I really had that thought of, of talking about that, speaking on that topic, which is really important. But a lot of people kind of get that misconstrued. They think that they have to start off with multiple streams of income, and that's really just not the case. It's not, it's important to be disciplined in one thing, or in one, in one thing ultimately, so that you can master that one thing and allow that discipline to produce mastery, and that mastery is ultimately is going to produce freedom. So yeah, I just had that thought. I just thought I'd share that with you guys. But yeah, so discipline is very, 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 very important. And that's what's going to set you aside from everybody else that's in your industry, in your niche. And another thing that's going to set you apart is your creativity, right? One thing about life and about just human nature is God has given each and every single person a portion of creativity. And it's really important that we exercise our creativity, because it's us exercising our God likeness, and exercising the image that we are made, which is in Him. And so that's really important, as well. But yeah, so remain diligent, remain disciplined in whatever you are doing, especially in your business, because it's going to show in what you produce. It's going to show in the outcome, right, of whatever scenario or situation where you're serving your clients or your customers. And yeah, definitely something to keep in your toolbox, so to speak. And it's hard. Like, I'm not gonna act like, oh, just go do this thing and da, da, da. No, it's hard. It can be a challenge, especially when things are not going the way that, when things are coming against your discipline, right? I remember when I said I'm gonna go live every single day, and maybe like the third or fourth day, stuff was just it was stuff was just happening where it was like, oh my goodness, I may not be able to go live today, or I may not be able to show up today. Welcome, 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 welcome. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, I made a decision. I decided I'm going to show up live every day, even if now I'm more concerned about not just showing up, but showing up at the same time every single day. But back then it was just, okay, I'm gonna show up. If it may not necessarily be the same time every day, but I'm going to show up on live every single day, make myself available to my audience, to my mommypreneurs out there, right? And oh my goodness, somebody is let me not tell my baby business, but anyway, somebody is letting off. But but yeah, so I made the decision. I decided, I said, I'm gonna come live every single day. I'm gonna show up every single day, regardless if anybody else shows up or not. And I'm gonna make sure I record the content, and I'm going to make sure that I put it out there, because mommypreneurs, we need motivation, right? And especially now, especially with everything that's been happening in the last, few weeks, we need the motivation, and we need to show up for each other. And so I said, I'm gonna go live every day. But now, like I said, I'm becoming live every day at 3 p.m. That's the time. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM. Feel free to comment under this video. I'll be putting the lives up. And yesterday, it's so funny. Yesterday, I came on live yesterday. It was like 8 o'clock in the evening, and I don't know, for some reason it did not record. So hey, but this goes to show, right? Like, even in being disciplined, you're gonna have roadblocks, but it's important to still show up. It's important to still make yourself available to your people, because only you can give what you can give, right? No one else can be you. No one else can take care of your customers like you can. No one else can show up for your people and your tribe like you can, right? So yeah, it's important. It's really important. But nonetheless, stay disciplined, stay diligent, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 3 p.m. Yeah. Peace in the Middle East, my peeps.